Howdy lovelies, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Our Crafting, where we learn, grow and craft together. In today's session, I'm going to show you how to make a pocket where you can put ephemera in, something that you can add to a card, maybe with a gift card in it, money, whatever you so wish, a little message, or you can include it in a journal. It can also be a standalone project. You don't have to include it in a journal. So without further ado, let's get started. So for today's session, like I said, that little pocket that we're going to make, and I'm going to use a paperback by Chanel, Little by Little. It is absolutely a gorgeous set. This paperback is really quite bright, yet toned down, but very vibrant. I love the different patterns. There are really such sweet pictures in there, pages, I mean to say, not pictures, but the graphics is really, really awesome, very modern, but there's a lot, and of course there are duplicates of each one of the sheets, so there's two of each design in the back. Now you can look and you can see all the patterns there. I'll just quickly show you the cover of the back, and if you want to see the name, there we have it. So there are 48 papers in this pack. I'm going to incorporate another sheet that I already have in my stash. So for today's project, I have chosen these little cards, and I am taking a sheet, double-sided scrabble page from my set, my own stash. This is called Snap Teal Dot Stripe. It is from 2012, you can imagine that. Simple story. So Snap Teal Dot and Stripe. I don't know if this is still available, but I'm using this because I think it will just be great to use. I haven't used this for a long time, and I'm just going to cut that off at the bottom. We can't use that. We can use that part maybe to include as a little tab somewhere, but that's about it. I just need to get another sheet. Let's look here. What would I want to get? These are awesome. I love them. This is the sheet I already took out, and I just want something different. Maybe these feathers. I like that, but I also like this quite a bit. So let's stick with the feathers. The hearts are also gorgeous. Oh, look at this. Isn't this just to die for? I love that flowery page. Really, absolutely amazing. All of these. This one also. I really, really like it. So I will just have to make up my mind and stick with what I've chosen. I'll just put it here next to me, and I hope it's not falling off. So first off, let me just get this ink pad out of the way, and I'm going to trim this sheet so that we can get that off. That's easy. Don't want to throw that away though. The end, that is a little bit. Paper trimmer would have been faster, but remember, I am focused on a beginner that might not have all the tools available. So would it be easier with a paper trimmer? Of course it will be. Now we have both that side and that side, the same type of thing. I'll snip that off, and I will be throwing the rest away because that can be used for easy additions on another project. So there's our paper trim. Now what we're going to do, you can decide whichever way you want it. Basically what's going to happen, you know me, I love to draw little diagrams. My tongue is twisting today. If this was our sheet, what we need to do is we're going to have to just measure that a whole lot down. We're first going to cut it off a bit, and basically on 3 lengthwise, and then the bottom part as well, again maybe in thirds like so. It can be a little bit less, which I think will be better, so let's scribble that out just to give you an idea. So we will be cutting that, and that out, and be left with that, which we will then ultimately trim that part off as well, and then punch holes in there, put eyelets in, fold it over, so that will be a dotted line where we have to fold it so that it can form the pocket. So let's get started. I don't want this the whole 12 by 12 inch. It will just be too wide. So first of all, I'm going to trim it down already so that I can have that, and then the same amount more or less. So 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 and a half. So 22 and a half. So I'm going to have to count again. And just so that I don't have to recount, I will be trimming that down. It is flush, so that should work. Now, this can be easily used for tags, and I will be using 1 or 2 of those. And now for this, what we need to do is to fold this more or less not in half, so it needs to be in 3. Would probably have been easier if I stuck to 24 centimeters. That way I would have had a perfect little fold over. So I'm going to use my Tim Holtz design ruler, which will then show us more or less where. And I'm getting a pencil. They sometimes crawl underneath things. So I'm going to draw lines across. I can erase it again at a later stage, just so that I know where to cut. And I want it more or less there, I think, as well. And then across. And this one I want a tiny strip out, say like so. So let's cut that with a cutting knife. So I'm going to trim this side and there, right into that. Then from there to that cross line, down to here, and now we're going to cut the ones across. You could do this with single-sided scrabble paper, cardstock, copy paper, but it will be very flimsy if the paper is very thin, and you want something that can be used to hold ephemera. Now that should come loose. There's something there, and there we have these parts. Now we still have to trim that little part, just like so. And now I don't throw these away. Those can be easily used in another project. I'm going to grab my scoring tool and just score this. You could use a turned over paper clip. I've shown you in a previous video how to use that. You can even use a plastic credit card. Let's use that one again for a change, just to show you can even score with that. It's just to guide the paper. You don't want something too sharp as it can cut your paper. You just want to make that crease so that it is easier to fold, using that access card of mine that I use for painting, adding gesso, burnishing, and there we have it. So now with the ruler in place, I can just simply guide this, crease it, and it will fold in. Going to do the same on this side. Seeing that we already scored it, make sure it folds properly, have a crisp fold. This will fold over, so we have to trim this down a little bit anyway because we want to add eyelets, and we need to get that sorted. This could have been a whole lot wider. Why did I crease that one? I should have just creased this one. Did I fold it the wrong way? I creased the wrong one, but no, I didn't. There we go. I thought I creased that. Maybe I did. Like I said, the brain is not working as it should these days due to a few reasons. Now, how to just fold this in so that it can, there we go. Now before we continue, I just want to trim this a little bit. So let's see, there's quite a bit of this left. So what I want us to do, unless you want it this side, which I kind of like, it will give us space to add something this side. I'm just going to use my pencil and more or less make a mark. Let's do that. I'm going to do that to have something that is a little bit off center. So I will be cutting that there just so that we have that place where we want to trim it. All right, so this one will be off center and not in the middle, and it seems a bit skewed to me. Why is that? I just want to trim this a tiny little bit so that I know there's space for this to fold properly. And there, this one the same, just a tiny little bit. Maybe the diagonal stripes are playing on my eyes and cause me to believe that it is skew. And just the bottom of this one also, just a tiny little slither, so that we have that space for it to fold properly. There we go. So this will fold over and that one will fold in. And I did fold that one. Why? It's not supposed to be folding over. It should be upright to make our pocket. So there, we will have it then to one side. All right, now we need to punch holes in so that we can then put the eyelets in. And I'm wanting to put an eyelet there and an eyelet there, and obviously opposite. So I'm just going to make a little hole indication there so that we can have an idea where to add the eyelets. Before we continue, I just want to grab the corner rounder, and I'm going to round these corners, all of them. I just like the look of that, even the one at the bottom. If we can just get it in there, this side too. So there we have that. So this is taking on shape, and we will do it this way. So did I mark this again wrong? There we go. This needs to fold in. I keep on folding this one. That is just too sad that I keep on doing that. We will be adding this, and that will then be the pocket. I just want to take these lines out. And the pencil mark across. There we go. Now, absolutely gorgeous. Grabbing my crocodile so I can make the little holes for the eyelets, and then we're going to work on getting the eyelets in. This is a little bit too far, and I'm going to pencil to make a hole in there and cut that down. Will we do that? Let's do that. Then it will probably make more sense anyway, which means we just have to round these corners again. So I'm going to maybe snip them in line with that. All right, corner rounder, we use the medium one for that, so let's keep it uniform. And there we have that one. Right, so now we can go ahead and just do the holes. Already I made my marks where I want them. This is the small hole. I need the standard one because I'm going to put standard eyelets in. There we go. And then this side. Sometimes it blocks the way and you can't see. So I just use a pokey tool, which in this case is a paper clip. Just opened up so that I can use that, just to show you. There we go. And then there we have that. Now open up what color eyelets would I put in? Silver, I guess, or gold. So for the eyelets, we are going to push that through, and we're going to crump them with the eyelet setter. I just want to turn this so that it is the proper one. All right, fit it in the hole, place it on top of the other side, which you can't see now, but it's crumping it as we speak. Perfect fit. Push it in and do exactly the same thing. Fit it in there and just crump it. It's so quick and easy. I cannot show you a different way of adding eyelets other than the manual way with the hammer and the setter, which was a couple of years back. I still have that little tool set, and more or less the same process, though it's not always as successful as this You really need to practice a few times. So there, our eyelets. And we will thread some thread through there. So there is our little bucket. Now for this, I just want to add a little bit of color here. So I'm going to simply use a tiny bit of this and just glue it down. Just want to change it, and I want to add a piece there. So let me just get an idea, because if I don't cut it first, it will be kind of an issue. So that's about 3.5 inches wide. Sorry for those that don't like inches and measurements. I am sorry, but I need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece over to there and a piece there, so that those are the same. So I'm going to glue that down. I'm going to cheat a little bit, and because I folded that, kept unfolding it, I just need a plastic bag so that I can just glue on that in there. We have that, and then a bit in here. Here I have to be a whole lot more careful, as I don't want to add glue to the flaps. I want that to glue down, and I just put glue there. Can you imagine that? Where's my eraser? There, let's just wipe that quickly before it's even dry. And yes, there's now all those little pieces there. I'll just scrape it off with my nail. I'm going to put this on there, just so that, and move it down a little bit so that it can. And just wipe that eraser before it's dry. Then nobody will know I made a mess with the glue. There's my card. Just going to burnish this a little bit. This is cute, can you see that? But it's okay, we will fix that. Now I'm going to fold this over so that I can quickly trim this. And I just did the unthinkable. I'll just trim it like that. I don't want to cut my project now, so I need to be ultra careful. Though I did tear a bit off my project, and I did not cut that bit. So let's quickly do that, and then I need another bitty for the inside flap. But before we get there, let's just trim this part. We did this one, you just have to trim a tiny bit as it moved over. This one will still fit. There we go. And that eraser to get this glue off here before it completely dries. We don't want that glue on our project. Right. So there we have that. It folds in nicely. We can crease it again. And there. This one has got a tiny bit of a little bit sticking out there in the fold. Now this little flap, so that when it's folded up, we can see that. And there we have it. So we will have these different colors, and that is just reflecting in this so beautifully. In fact, I like it so much, I think I will just leave it. No, I want something else there. Maybe not this. I'm going to grab another piece from the paperback. It is sometimes hard to make up your mind, so I had to rush quickly to get that piece, other sheet, and I decided on the pink. Now what I'm going to do is I am just going to put glue on there, and I'm going to glue this down. Directionality, not so much of a problem as it is easy. So let me just grab the plastic again. The other glue should be okay. And this is just me being lazy, not wanting to measure. But as before, I now need to be very, very careful because I do not want glue all over my project. And now I'm going to just add this to this piece as close as I possibly can to the edge and move it back a bit. That should be fine. And that eraser for the bit of glue that's coming out of there. Just keep rubbing, rubbing, rubbing. It will take it all off. If it's dry, however, not so easy. So there we have that. I'm going to trim it from this side. Yes, it would be easier if you just trim it, size it before the time, I was way too lazy for that. Going to trim that, and then we can work with this. And there we have that. Just trimmed a little bit of white that is extra there, and into that little bit, so we can come off. There is still a bitty there. There we have that gone. Now to trim the ends, and then for the big reveal, we will ink the edges. Let's quickly just trim that as well, and there we have that. Now I'm going to use Distress Oxide. I just want to put this away, make a little bit of space on the workbench, and then we're going to ink this. Going to fold this and ink that edge, and also this. Continue with that. Go right around. Yes, I do want the contrast, so I'm going to fold this in first. Same there. Do the edge, then come back in and do the flaps. And I will also do this on the outside. Now you can thread through lace, ribbon, rickrack, dental floss if you so wish. It can also be thin ribbon, it can be embroidery floss, it can be yarn, it can be some eyelash trim, it can be any of those things, whatever you have. So let's start on the outside too. And here I can see there's a piece that is a bit wider. Let me just trim that, because that will obscure the fold there. In that one, fold this in to do the edge, fold that one in to do the other edge, and there we have the pocket. Now we can work on making the little insides, those things that we will be adding to the pocket. So that gives us that little bit of contrast, opposed to just having that really nice all fitting together. So I'm going to use these cards, and I want to cut my pocket. So from here I'm going to just cut down these little journal cards. That is from the paperback, and I will be inking them as well. But we're first going to round the corners. It just gives a different feel altogether. Now we could have made our own, which would have been perfect, but use what is available, and it's already fitting in with the theme. This one says happy, and who cannot be happy when they are busy crafting? I don't think such a person exists. And there we have it. The 4 journal cards are done. Now having to just trim those little ends, and I'm being lazy. I will put 2 through for a little punch, but can handle that. Yes, it is jumping everywhere, those offcuts. I just love the rounded corners so much better than the squares. I want to just trim that one. It looks as if it's a tiny bit skew, especially if I look at the width of the writing. Just over there. There we go. That is more pleasing to my eye. And you can go ahead and you can actually ink the edges if you so wish. I will be inking this one. That one can stay, though I don't like the white core of it, because this is already pink, but I don't like the white core of the paper. That's mostly why I do the inking, is to hide the white core. Some of the cardstocks have got color right through, like the basil cardstocks, but some scrapbook papers don't have that, and I don't particularly care for the white core of the paper. These are not very strong, as you can hear. It's quite flimsy. I like this. I think I will just keep it as that, and just face the you know what, let's see if this ink blending tool is still wet enough just to take that extra whiteness away. It's better. I used this a while back and the ink is just sitting there, so I'm sure it is fine. Not as bright as it would have been if I had dipped it into the ink pad right away right now, but it is helping to get that whiteness away. So there we have that. We've got 4 little tags that can go, journal cards that can go in there, like so. And then we just have to get this sorted. This seems to be a bit of a problem. Let me see if I can just trim this a bitty. It feels as if there's something hooking there. And just pink again, because I just trimmed that. Okay, now something to actually hold this, that will keep it together. This one goes over that, and we will then pull the lace in. Now let's see, what do I have here on my workbench that we can add? Something that's maybe thin enough. Do I have something thin enough that will be able to go through? If not, I need to go to the other bin to get some lace or some ribbon. Maybe that would be a better bet. I doubt if this will really go through. Let's see. If it goes, then fine. But it will be a bit difficult. So I'm going to just trim a piece off. And it should be long enough. I'll do it till there. There we go. And for that one, just keep the trim. I like the white because it then forms a unit with this. Let's just do it more or less the same, just like so, that way. And this one needs to go in there, which will then be a little bit more tricky. Let's just roll it up. There we go. And then one from this side. Now, because they're overlapping a little bit, it is a bit more tricky, but I think the overall look is just cute. And there we have that. So now this will stand up, so let's loosen that a bit and tie a little knot or a bow in here. And there we have that. There's our little pocket with our things. And now, to just round this off, I want to add a rose, which I'm going to take from this pocket. Just packets, just give me a moment. I am making a noise in your ears though. Just trimming the bottom. I don't know where is my wire cutter at this moment. Probably in the basket, but it's okay. I've got something here. You can add this with some hot glue. I will, however, just add it with some Alien Sticky Glue and give it a little bit longer to dry. And there we have it. There is our little ribbon and our little rose with our 4 journal cards. Hope you enjoyed today's session. Thank you for joining me. If you go and try this for yourself, use whatever products and paper you have at home. You don't have to have what I am using, because we are all different. Our styles differ, our personalities differ. What I like might be something that somebody else will be frowning upon. As long as you have fun, that is the big thing, and that you learn something new. If you want to see more content like this, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that little subscription bell, or notification bell rather, so that you can be notified whenever I upload new content. And as always, I will be appreciative if you hit the subscribe button too, and subscribe to my channel. That way I can share these random craft sessions with more people, and hopefully our beginners will feel inspired to start crafting along with us. See you back soon. Goodbye.